This is Marabella. It is
Hello.
full moon time for the month. Hey, Marabella.
Hey, Skye, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So I had my full moon last night, and I'll tell you what, I definitely did. Uh I feel like I went to sleep and slept well, but I woke up like something had happened. Like my
Oh,
system was like, whoa. So maybe we
yes.
can talk about what's going on because it's like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so there's a lot going on with this full moon. This is called the full blood moon. It's a lunar eclipse, and we'll be able to see if you look at just the right time, at least on the Pacific. It'll be at 3 something hour time. So it'll be 3 at 3 a.m. And you should be able to see the red blood moon. And it is the third in a series. This is the last of the series of lunar moons. And what is happening is that, and like the number 3 is powerful because it's like a triangle. So threes are very strong and sturdy. And the old structures are burning down. So remember, I think it was last cacao ceremony, maybe I was telling you about um the fire horse coming in and how we're in a new so we're in a new chapter, and this full moon is in Virgo, and Virgo represents new chapters, stability, ending the old phase, moving into our power, moving out of limbo. And so I've actually pulled some cards, and I kind of structured our meditation around this too because it is so powerful. It's so great. So the first one, this looks like a leaf, like a leaf. I use the unicorn cards because of the year. It's the fire horse. 2026 is the fire horse. So this is endings. So we're going to go through some endings. So as always with endings can make us feel very vulnerable.
Mm.
And just knowing that, yeah, we are going through an ending. It does feel uncomfortable, but we can still step into our power and into our leadership and our joy and creativity. And we're moving towards harmony. So it doesn't really always feel like it when we end something because it's kind of scary and things, crash down, but we're headed towards joy and harmony. And so we're ending a phase, moving into our power, moving out of limbo. Um, and remember, to help us, we have tools to help us, which is the moon represents femininity. So we move into our femininity and tune into our intuition as we're going through the endings, moving through the vulnerability, headed towards the harmony, and just keeping in mind that we are moving towards harmony. So even though things have a tendency to feel kind of scary, a little bit weird, we are traveling in a good direction. So you're gonna see things. You're gonna see people in power falling off. You're gonna see a lot of truth come out. You're gonna hear a lot of things about a lot of things. And so what we need to do is to tune into our own knowingness, our own intuition in order to assess the situation, not to overreact, but just to accept and move forward. So, yes. So, and also with the full moon, we do have that there is this energy that you can you can feel it with the full moon. Absolutely. So, that makes perfect sense, Skye, how you would wake up and just be like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Well, it's funny the way you describe it. So it's like I feel like what has happened to me is over the past years, because I dissociated from a lot of my memory and I keep wanting parts of myself back. And what I feel has happened, and I had like a bit of a few health things come up recently, is
Yeah.
I feel like I've almost gone, and I'm usually so careful about what I ask for, right? I feel like I've gone so far back that I've had to realize that I never really was happy back where I was. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like I tend to hyper focus on some things, and as much as I'm so grateful for the raw journey, is I know that I dissociated and lost and really can't remember a lot. But as too much comes back, especially sitting there being unwell recently and feeling that again, it's this big reminder of that doesn't serve me anymore. Basically, like what you're saying is like, it was what it was at the time, and you may have perceived it at the time as being like good, or even parts of it that you want back. But when the whole package comes back, I'm like, no, that belongs back there. That's what has been going on for me.
Wow, so that's great. So you're having this discernment where you're seeing the truth of what was. Because sometimes we like glamorize the past, or we think a certain thing, and
Well, we harp on emotion. So what happens is when people want their past back, usually what they're remembering is out of the event. So just say you're like, oh my God, my 15th birthday was amazing. And it may have been because life was so crappy, is on your 15th birthday, you had a high raise in dopamine, right? So you're like, what you're remembering is that high raise of dopamine. But if you put me back there with all the ways I used to feel, including old symptoms, I'm like, okay, this is all too much. Sure, there's parts I like to remember, but I don't want to go back. And I'll be honest, is a huge part of it for me is because I missed my essentially adulthood. Like now, I'm at middle age, so I missed my young, you want to say young adult, my adulthood up until when I was 40. Like from when I was 16, I got sick, and then I didn't get well till I was 40. So they're your reproductive years. A lot of fun years. I did do some things, but I always didn't got sick afterwards. So I struggle, and I'm like, I want to be back. Do I want to, and I feel like you've got to be careful what you wish for, because if you get the whole package back, you get symptoms back, you get emotions, and you realize how dense that energy was. So it's right. It's about what doesn't serve me. It's falling. It has to fall away now. I do not want to be in that space.
yeah, and you mentioned something so powerful, is that be careful what you wish for, because as we're moving, like as we're moving into this harmony time, the time of harmony, as we're moving in that direction, our manifesting abilities become stronger and stronger. And the clearer of a channel you become, connecting in with nature, eating healthy, doing all the things, like everything builds upon another. Our manifestation abilities, they happen so quickly. So really becoming aware of our thoughts and our actions and all the things will be so helpful, not just during the full moon, but as we move from 2026 and beyond, because it feels like this is going to be like such a pivotal point. And always remember, even when you're seeing destruction and things falling away, that's to begin something new. So there's all this energy freeing up, and our brain, like we're tapping into parts of our brains and things that we haven't used before too, and DNA upgrades and all kinds of really exciting things. So we
I
have
love
all this
that.
power that we're coming into. We're coming into all this power and this joy and creativity, and it's really great. But especially right now, in this cycle, in this moon cycle, it is about looking into what doesn't serve us, what we can let go of, what we can release. Things will come back again, but in a different way too. And so, what of that do you, like, kind of like for you, Skye? What of that do you want to keep? What of that do you want to release? And the
That.
truth, like what is, blindfolds are coming off too. So truth will be revealed. So much truth, and like truth about ourselves
I
as
feel
well.
like that's exactly what's happened. And I already knew that I had to be careful what I asked for, because I feel like when you're doing raw, is everything that I ask for comes true. That's why I rarely ask for things, because I sit in, how I practice gratitude manifestation is I sit in the space of just repracticing things that make me feel good over and over. Of course, there's thoughts, and then I set them free, but I don't sit in them, because you've got to be careful what you wish for, because when it comes back as
Yes.
beware, if you get the full package, it may not be that little bit that you asked for. So I find sitting in gratitude and happiness keeps whatever coming in at that frequency. If I
Yes.
start to ask for things, you not necessarily know what you're asking for. You could think you're getting this, and you may get it, right, but what comes with that?
Right, exactly. And gratitude is huge in this too. Gratitude can take you from a low place and move you up. I think gratitude is key. I think it's the magic pretty much, because anytime you tune into gratitude and what you're grateful for, you get more of it, and it also lifts your vibration too. So you're closer and closer to what you want, and really really paying attention to the feeling of what you want too. Like, you may think you want a situation, but in all reality, it might not be the full situation. Like you said, it might not have been the full past that you wanted, but just certain like key moments, or maybe wanting to have like a certain aspect of it, like you
There's,
mentioned before.
but it's also like one of those things where someone might be like, I want a horse, I want a horse, I want a horse, right? And you may get a horse, but as the horse arrives, it injures your, I don't know, it keeps you up all night, or it makes making noise, or it
Yeah.
your child gets on it and falls off it and injures themselves, right? So I tend to be like, I don't necessarily mind what comes my way as long as it sits at the frequency that I'm already sitting, and that is love, gratitude, self-love, happiness, all these things. Is because anything else that just amplifies that, I just get more gratitude. So
Uh-huh.
it's not necessarily the shape or form for me. I find when I start wishing for shapes or forms, is what comes in is a whole lot of stuff that I can't control, basically. Whereas happiness, love, gratitude, bring it to me.
Yeah, yes. So like this or something better. This vibration.
Yes.
Right, right.
Yeah. So like it doesn't matter. It may not be a horse. It may be somebody saying, you don't ever have the space for a horse. And I'm like, oh, I feel really free and happier. Like whatever brings more of that happiness is what since I started this healing journey, is I just work towards. And that's why I feel so grateful for my life.
Yay, I love that. Are you drinking cacao today? What did
Yeah,
you
I do. What about
Oh,
you?
good. Yes, I do. I brought some today.
I wish I had a spoon, actually. Maybe this will stir. It needs a little stir. A little stir of love. Okay, that's
How
better.
was yours today? What is yours?
Okay, so mine is cacao, warm water melted, and then I used a frother with some milk, frothed it all up, and then I put a little bit of monk fruit sweetener in it. What's
Oh,
yours?
so
And lots of
mine,
love, lots of love. We're
oh,
drinking love.
lots of love. That was your intention. I did love for our
Yeah.
intention too. So I did some water, coconut milk. I usually use cashew milk, but I've been loving coconut milk lately. Cacao, and a little bit of not maple syrup. Oh my gosh, what is
Agave?
that's it. Yes, thank you. Cheers.
Yay! Are
Oh,
we
and some
sipping
cinnamon
that?
and vanilla. Mm. So I have a little tastes so good. I have a little
I've missed
meditation.
you. We haven't done cacao together in a long time. I've
It's
missed it. We've done juices,
Yep.
matcha, water, tea, and I think I did
Mhm.
cacao last time, but you didn't. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. I know. I'm back on the cacao now lately. It's just exactly what I need. Trying to finish the bundle. I need that brain power.
Ah,
Just something to
yes,
like turn my brain on. Yeah. So I have a little cacao full moon meditation for us. And
perfect.
so this is about shedding the old, blooming in truth, and rising in our power. So we'll just go ahead and close our eyes. We can take our cacao too and hold it. Hold your cacao in both hands and feel its warmth like a heartbeat. Close your eyes. Take a slow breath in and release. We're going to imagine that we're sitting beneath the full moon, very ancient and intuitive. The moon does not force. She pulls gently. She governs the tides and the waters within us. She is asking us to soften, to feel, and to trust what we already know. So you can put your hand on your heart And just whisper, or you can say it out loud or think it in your mind. I trust my intuition. I trust I trust the wisdom within me.
I trust the wisdom within me.
I honor the rhythm of my becoming.
I honor the rhythm of my becoming.
And take a sip. And we're going to release the old. Imagine yourself standing in the still moonlit water.
Oh, that's a nice image.
Yes. Yes. The old world clings to you like dry leaves, kind of like in the first picture with the unicorn with the leaves all over it. Expectations, perfectionism, overworking, overgiving, silencing your knowing. The Virgo energy clears what is no longer aligned. The moon illuminates what has been hidden, and you see clearly now. And instead of pushing or fighting, you allow. And as you allow, the leaves fall away. Not just one, the entire disguise. And you can say softly or think, I release who I had to be.
I release who I had to be.
I no longer live from armor.
I no longer live from armor.
I let the old identity disappear.
I let
Dissolve.
the old identity dissolve.
And watch it sink into the water.
And watch it sink into the water.
You remain stronger, softer, and more real. And then take a sip.
You remain stronger, softer, and more real.
One more. Or can we do one more? Like the ending. I've got a closing too.
Oh, go for it.
Okay. Now beneath the shedding.
Now beneath the shedding.
A bloom emerges.
A bloom emerges.
This flower is not decoration. It is your truth.
This flower is not decoration. It is your truth.
It is magnetic.
It is magnetic.
And open.
And open.
And trusting.
And trusting.
Your heart opens petal by petal.
Your heart opens petal by petal.
Feeling your intuition awakening, a quiet inner voice is saying, this is who I am.
I don't know what that was. Do you want to repeat that?
Oh, you can just say, this is who I am. I know.
This is who I am.
This is what I know.
This is what I know.
This is what I feel.
This is what I feel.
And a sacred golden bee approaches you. It's like a symbol. And it means that life is coming toward you. So instead of you shrinking, instead of us all shrinking, we remain open.
I love
and
that.
we say, my softness is my strength.
My softness is my strength.
My intuition guides me.
My intuition guides me.
I allow myself to be seen in truth.
I allow myself to be seen in truth.
The bloom grows brighter. I am no longer hiding.
The bloom grows brighter. I'm no longer hiding.
And take a sip. And the last one, I'll just read and just close your eyes and just receive.
Okay.
Now imagining roots growing from your feet into the earth. We are grounded. Imagine moonlight pouring down through the top of your head or your crown chakra. We are connected. The earth below us, the moon above us, heart open in the center. This is harmony. We are no longer in limbo. We move from intuition and not fear. We move from alignment, not pressure. We move from inner knowing, not external validation. Feeling the motivation rising, not as a force, but as clarity. We are here to walk our path, and by walking it, we light the path for others. And we can say, I rise in power. I move.
Do I say that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I rise in power.
I move forward with intuitive clarity.
I move forward with intuitive clarity.
I trust my inner guidance.
I trust my inner guidance.
I'm aligned with my path.
I'm aligned with my path.
And see yourself stepping forward, confident, gentle, luminous, and then place both your hands over your heart. The moon governs the tides, but you govern your choices. And today, we have released the old, chosen vulnerability, stepped into harmony, reclaimed our intuition, and we are becoming, not forcing. We trust it. And then we can take one final sip of our cacao and open our eyes.
That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely perfect. I always come away from these and I feel magical.
Me too. I always feel like buzzing, buzz, buzz, buzz.
Exactly.
So good. I didn't bring any crystals today, but did you bring anything?
No, I didn't. I didn't bring any crystals.
I just thought of that right now.
I didn't bring any fairies, and I didn't. Well, I let you bring the cards, but I almost feel like I needed to sit with that today. Is just be kind of free and not hold on to things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what's been going on with me is I'm holding on to a lot, and because I'm freeing things, I've really felt the calling today to go through and let go. Everything you said resonated with me.
Oh, that's so great. Like we're on the same frequency. We always are. Yeah,
I guess like I'm in tune with the moon.
Yes, in tune with, You woke up like ready for it.
I did.
That was from Helen. Thanks, Helen. She says, thank you. That was delightful. I wanted a red moon ritual for today, and I joined at exactly the right time with matcha at beach against trunk of a tree. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
I think I feel like this part and like what we do, Marabella, is like the next level. Once you get like, it's so interesting that most of my life I never concentrated on getting that my life was going to just turn out the way I needed, with the right food and movement and nature and good people and good choices. And then I feel like once you practice, this is for me, once you practice those, coming into like what I call spiritual alchemy, where you actually have this next level or layer of manifesting gratitude, looking within. I feel like when I used to do practices like this, when I was in like a lot of density, almost feel like I was might have been causing myself more problems. I think I said this to you when we started this, like the raw magic and the cacao, maybe the raw magic, in that it was so important for me when I lost everything to rebuild like that foundation.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people I felt so disconnected from everything, really. I was. And I wanted to get what I call the foundation right before I got the next level. What do you think about that? Do you think if people are in dark places and they start doing some of this, they can sometimes conjure more dark?
I think so, because I think we kind of resonate with certain things. And if we're forcing it or trying it and it doesn't like light us up and bring us joy, then I definitely think we need to be careful. We need, just like when you're choosing a crystal, you go to what feels right, what you're drawn to. And
Mm.
sometimes well-meaning friends or family members will suggest, something spiritual or something religion or something like that to you, and it doesn't align with you personally, or you're not at that level yet. So you kind of have to start what you're drawn to. So you kind of build. So you draw to something high vibrational, and then you can go a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. So to really pay attention to what feels right to you. Because for sure, if you try something that isn't for you at the time, it's not going to work. And it might frustrate you even more, which if you're frustrated, you may end up throwing everything out and just being like, none of this works. I can't stand it. It's not working for me. So just
Yeah,
like, yeah.
I think also what happened with me is I don't think everybody gets to this place, and that's why a lot of well-meaning things were not for me at the time. And that is, if you've ever dissociated, all you want is yourself back, your grounded, conscious, interactive self. And I feel like I needed to get there. It happened very quickly, but I needed to stay there, like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Because a lot of people like, there's ayahuasca, there's even like caffeine. I did not want them in my life because I
Right.
wanted to be so grounded. But then once I've rinsed and repeated enough, I feel stable I call it alchemy, like where I didn't feel I had a right to kind of dance in it where I used to be. No wonder I ended up on medications and a whole lot of surgeries, because life was so dense. That's all I manifested. And I was very aware that then I dissociated, and I was in a dark dissociation, basically, though I
Yeah.
seem to find the light in there. Is coming back was so important to me. And it's why I choose to not venture very far. I had to earn my right to kind of do what I call alchemy, where I choose my own adventure consciously. I just wanted to be present. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And we are spiritual beings, but we're in this dense body. And
That's
it's like we are in a dense body on a planet that holds us down by gravity. And and it's easy to get caught up in that density. And it would be very frustrating sometimes to reach towards something that you don't really, you just it's that you may not be ready for, like stepping into a bright room after being in a dark room, stepping into a bright room, and it's like, I can't see.
I can give you a good example of that. So when I lost my stomach, I had been in a hospital nonstop, not even outdoors, and the windows are kind of smudged over for 4 months. So all I saw was these dull white walls, white clothes. And
Oh,
when I got home, Mum surprised me by, my favorite color was pink, by buying me this fluoro pink Indian. It was like this beautiful doona, and matching curtains and matching pillows. And I actually, in my head, I'm like, oh, like it's like it almost electrocuted me, because I had not seen anything. Even the nurses, they're like this dull blue. And like, so that's like a good example where it's a beautiful thing, but I can't process it, right? And I
yes.
even notice my reality. A lot of the time, if I ever get to the stage where I'm like, I've got nothing to wear, I don't have any clothes, this doesn't suit me, that's like a density thing, where everything seems to start fitting again, and I start to build on the life I already have. Like if I can't appreciate, I need this, I want this, I had this, to me, that's coming from lack. I need to work harder on sitting in a space where I love everything I have, because then everything that comes my way, I seem to see more love. Like
Yes.
another gift. What if and this, another example of this is when I found raw foods and healed all these diseases, and I'm up out of bed and seeing all these people I hadn't seen in years. I always say how strange it was to me, where I'm like, this cured like 50 different diagnoses. And I'm like, and they're like, what was it? I'm like, raw food. Oh, I can't do that. My kids don't eat raw. Oh, I can't do that. I don't like blueberries. Oh, I can't do that. Fiber gives me gas. How many people came at a solution with a problem, like
Yes.
block? And so I feel like that stops the more I sit in this space of working on myself. And that is good food, good people, good choices, sleep, nature, and exercise. There's probably something I missed. Each person probably has their own different baggie of things, but that is how I actually perceive my reality as my dream right now, as opposed to sitting around. And because I feel like if you're trying to get your dream, once you get it, you're like, you don't care about it. You're like, I now need this, or that wasn't good enough.
Right.
The more I sit in like I have everything, more I'm like, oh, look at this.
Exactly. Yes, I love that. Like the more we sit, remember when we were reading the book by Kyle Cease, and
Yes.
he was like, admit where you are, like notice where you are and say, and I love it. And I love it. And I love it. Or, I got to take a shower today and I love it. Start at something small. I have clothes and I love it. I get to walk
Yeah.
outside and I love it. The sun is shining and I love it. Look at all the things, all these things that we have that we can just super appreciate.
Reese Witherspoon was talking about this ages ago, about how it's not I have to go to work or I have to get on a plane, or it's I get to. I get to get on a plane. I get to.
Yes.
I feel like you actually have to truly be feeling that. And for me, raw foods is the only way I actually feel that. Or the
Yes.
more I say raw foods, but let's be honest here, it's about the more connected I am to nature. You
Oh,
know,
right.
is I feel like I actually feel these things. I feel like that's why I never felt manifestation or anything worked. And then I'm like, that's a problem, right? Is because I never sat in that space of gratitude all the time. I just kept seeing why things didn't work.
Yes, I've had that experience too of it's like, okay, if you go to a restaurant and you order something, you order it and then you have fun at the table, whatever you're doing. You don't go back and bug the chef. So when I first started manifesting it, I'm like, where is it? Where is it? But I don't see it. But is it working? And if you just put out there what you want and then get busy living your life, noticing every little thing, that you can, your plants. And I have these beautiful plants and I love them. Then you, like you said, you're not living in lack. You're living in such abundance that, and when everything comes in, you're just so thankful for it and happy for it. And before you know it, it's like a whole new reality, feeling so high vibrational.
And why that's so easy on raw is because everything, even at the simplest level, feels so good. I remember I was, when I first got my own place and I had a roof over my head and it was my own, is I used to just sit there being like, there's a roof over my head. Like there is actually like being, and it was much easier, and I didn't have much, but I was so grateful that I had this space and I had like clothes that I could put in my body. But I do remember going along here, things manifested very, very quickly when I sat in this space. But I sat in that space very easily. One, because I was now on raw foods, and two, because I had lost everything. So everything was a gain, right? I was just
Oh,
gaining.
yes.
So that's happened a couple of times in my life where I've like it's been a restart. Like in
Yeah.
2018, once I dissociated and I came out of that, and for the first time I was out of bed and I was going to the beach and stuff, it happened again then. But my block is, I think where my block is and what is in the subconscious is, every time something started, I kept losing.
Mm.
Usually it resulted in a surgery. I'd get a bit of life back and then everything would just tumble again. And that's been a pattern most of my life. But I'm in much better space now. But also I feel like the one thing that keeps me, I'm going to say it again, is nature.
Yes. Oh my gosh. If someone wants to shift their vibration and they just don't know where to start, just stepping outside, even stepping outside barefoot is huge.
Yes.
And find a tree. Helen said that she was sitting under a tree. Find a tree and hug a tree. That's a great place to start. And your vibration will rise. And notice how you feel. Notice how you're feeling before you leave, before you walk out the door. Where in your body you feel it. Maybe you're feeling anxious, you're worried, you're scared, whatever it is. Go outside, step into nature, stay out as long as you possibly can, as long as you have time, and then tune into your body and see how you're feeling after. I always use this, I'm going to use my husband as an example. Um, he might be a little grouchy, and I want him to go for a walk with me, and I have to pull him, but he comes, and I'm like, okay, let's go. The first part of the walk, he's kind of quiet, doesn't say much. Then as we walk, he starts looking around, and he'll be like, oh, look over there. That's so pretty. Look at the sunset. Look at the mountains. Look over here. And then I see his aura growing. Like, I see his personality coming out. And I always tell him that. I'm like, you're different now. And then he'll stay outside and do things. Like, he'll stay out and rake, or I don't know, anything, mess around in the yard, like pick up things, move things around. And he comes in and he looks different. Like, his aura, his energy is much, much bigger. He feels better. I feel like he sleeps better too. So even just that one step into nature, just by stepping out, seeing how you feel before, stepping out, tuning into how you feel after, and look at something beautiful. Look at a tree. You can imagine like the energy, the universal energy coming in through the top of your head and out your heart. Send love to a tree. It changes you. Like, immediately.
It does. I remember also learning that even at a processing level, so people who have PTSD, depression or anxiety, but PTSD, it's really important that they walk out in nature, especially a bush trail, at least 40 minutes a day, because you get the same effect as rapid eye movement sleep. So you can process. So when we're in nature and walking, the eyes don't stop darting around. And if you actually measure the eye movement, it's the same or similar to rapid eye movement. And that helps the brain actually process things. And if you think about it, if we were designed originally to live in nature, how much the brain would be able to be consistently processing things. Plus you're grounded, you've got the magnetic field of the earth, and you would never get yourself into, let's call them funks, right? Is when you sit inside and you're disconnected and you feel bad and you start thinking bad thoughts, and then you make stories out of those bad thoughts and you can't shift it. Get out in nature, and you like at that level it'll start processing. But I believe, and I notice, is the more you're out there, the more you start to become present.
Yes.
Nature is a gift. It is the present.
It's a free gift. It's so amazing. And so great. When my kids were little, just for an example, I was homeschooling my son from middle school all the way up through high school. And if we ever had any issues at the table, I would have him go outside and we would walk. And I would just say, we're going to walk until we feel better. And pretty soon he was laughing. He would come in, do his work. It was amazing. It was so helpful to be able just to go for a walk. And it changed his attitude immediately. And like for the rest of the day, it was so incredible.
And
like for me too, if I just was feeling off or didn't feel right, I would just step outdoors and like go hug my tree or sit in front of the tree. And because we have this beautiful silver maple, and so I will just sit by the silver maple and then come in, and you feel like yourself. Like, you feel
that
just like even keeled, connected in, awake, happy, very grounded at the same time. So good.
If I think back to being a child, and we will do a Raw Magic podcast on this about make-believe. If I think of the make-believe that I made up inside versus outside, everything was freer, less anxiety, magical. Raw magic outside, right? But when I think of this as being a child, the make-believe I do inside, it really used to probably as a child mimic what I had seen on television, which isn't necessarily always a good thing, right? Is you're mimicking drama, to get that
Yes.
heightened effect. Like I think about the dolls would have to fall out of their cradle or just like drama. Whereas I feel like when I did any make believe outside, it was so free and flowing and fun. And my memories of everything outside as a child with no shoes is just like
Oh,
magic. Like it really
yes.
magic when you think about it. Whereas inside, I don't have any memories of being like, oh my God, it was so magical. I had this doll and this, you know, I have some cute memories of like gifts of like blankies and stuff that I used on dolls. But
Yeah.
that's a human connection, really. That like, because you, if a child is, you put a child outdoors and say, make fun, like find your own way, more chance than none, they will find a way. Whereas
Yes.
inside, you more likely eventually get the boredom thing. I'm bored.
Yes. So my grandson, he will be 3 in July. Last year,
Oh,
so he was like 1.5 or something, and I took him outside and we went for a walk, and he had so much fun just playing with the rocks, just playing with rocks for like 45 minutes. So much fun. He didn't get bored at all. He loved being outside, but when we're inside, he moves from toy to toy to toy, and he just doesn't seem as happy. But all my children seem so happy outside.
yeah. There's like that conundrum, right? Where when I first found Raw, I'm like, you know, science and all of these computer stuff, you know, there's no use for it. We should just be stopping it and we should be getting outside. But that to me is not necessarily true. I just think that where we are, there needs to be both. And this is my opinion of all of that, is because the way the planet is, I think it's in like 50 million years
Wow.
the sun will go out or something like that, is we can't still be here, right? So at some level, people have got to be working on how humanity kind of spreads out, or how survival will change as everything else changes. It's
Right.
almost like denying where the planet is. But I do also feel that we could do this more ergonomically, like more connected to nature than we have. Hopefully we find our way, right? This is
Yeah.
why we do this.
Yes, absolutely. We want to help you to connect in with nature, have raw food, have a positive attitude, and tune into appreciation and looking at the moon, having fun,
Yes. And find
magic.
your purpose, right? I feel like
Yes.
how I feel it went for me is once I got the food in and I was connected to nature and I got the sleeping better and the movement better and good choices better. And then I feel like I started to do this like spiritual aspect, but it starts to bring in your purpose. Like I feel like if people understood is your true purpose comes when you work on yourself. Like the harder
Yes.
you work on yourself, your purpose is so bright, you can't ignore it anymore.
Right. Right. Because when I went to raw, I started to feel like myself. So,
Yeah.
like, if I would try to get off the raw and eat something not healthy, I would not feel good. I would feel it in my body and I wouldn't feel as calm. So, I feel like when there's a calmness in your body and you're not feeling the anxiety and the stress, you become who you truly are. Like,
Yeah.
I just remember the raw and just feeling like, "Wow, this is how I'm supposed to feel." And then, like, drinking the green juice, that is so calming to me, and I just feel connected in, and if I don't have green juice for a few days, I start to feel anxious a little bit. I think there's something about all those greens and minerals that our body really needs, and
Like
then when you're outside in nature, it even feels better, like a whole different level.
it
I've told you
does.
before about seeing the auras. One day I'll teach everyone how to
Yeah.
see like the auras, but if you look at the auras of a tree or the aura of a lemon, I saw it to be like bright purple. It was crazy. And then I put the lemon down and that like the purple was like a little tracer that went by.
I love what's all there. It's what we've focused on from a young age, right? Like a lot of
Mhm.
these are like the sleeping prophet, like Edgar Casey, the fact that he kind of it's like when I dissociated is there's levels of things there. Like it's not just density, But what we focus on is what we eventually, you could call, manifest or see. So if you start to focus on the auras, they're just electromagnetic fields in a different color spectrum, right? That we, apparently the human eye can't fully detect. But who says it can't? It's just never been used. Like if you
Right.
start, it's like when you get people who have a deficit, you could call it a deficit, but it heightens something else. So just say you've got someone who's deaf, is they usually like can be really good at maths or something because they've got
Right.
all this extra energy which has to be used. So if you keep focusing on something, and I think a good indicator of what you should focus on is if you have a calling, like if something, and that back to filling yourself with raw foods, it becomes, you become more of yourself, so you can feel more where you should go, where you shouldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important too, just as much as knowing where you shouldn't go. Is it's like, I feel like when you eat raw foods, you get to feel your way through life. Like you
Yes.
start to like, you're like, oh, okay, like you just start to know. And people like, you make good choices based off it just felt right. And it, once again, if you're in a happy, good mood, it's gonna, you're being pulled towards more happy, good mood. So you got to
Right.
trust it, right?
Yes. And it builds on itself more and more and more and more. And then your intuition kicks in too with things, and you're able to understand yourself and others so much better. Like, just, and then the thought of, because my husband and I have been in a couple of situations, social situations, and I have not had any alcohol, and nor did I want any. And I was so happy that I didn't, because I felt so great the next day. Oh, you got your green juice. I want
I,
some.
I do. I always have both. In the morning, I need so much green juice.
Yes.
Like I really do. I on the. Are you going to say more about the
Oh,
alcohol?
yeah. And so the next day, after we had this lovely evening, this great date, it was so much fun. And then I woke up the next day and I did mat strength class. It was kind of like Pilates, and I felt so good. And then yesterday I went for like a 14,000 step walk, and eating the right foods, not drinking, being out in nature, all that makes me feel so incredible. Like, so
It does.
good.
I almost think that there are a lot of people in the raw vegan community who have been addicted to different drugs. I've been on huge amounts of opioids, and I was addicted to alcohol and smoking and vaping and all these things. Is I believe they're more than anybody else going to really, if you can hone that ability across into raw foods, because you're wanting, the reason people choose that is to up their vibe,
Mm-hmm.
up feel good, right? Is if you can move that across into raw foods and use that seeking. And I talk about that, how I used my addiction to go raw, you know, just keep having things that make you feel good and the
Yes.
combination that you crave. But I saw a woman post about smoking, and it's about how smoking does regulate a nervous system. And she made a lot of sense. She doesn't smoke now, but she wanted to say how when you smoke, the reason you crave it again if you've stopped is you've become dysregulated. It's not that you need the cigarette, it's that you can come into a denser reality, right? And you're now matching that frequency. But because you breathe it in, this is what the brain has learned. You breathe it in, but nicotine gives you a hyperfocus because it's a stimulant. So it does bring, not that she smokes anymore, but it does bring you forward. And she's saying, she only ever craves it when she's dysregulated. But you've got to find a life where you're not so dysregulated that you're not constantly craving drugs to regulate. Is
Right. That
basically the
makes
moral
sense.
of the story, is that, like, and I think also, I think when you look at your past, and this is really important about what we're talking about and the full moon and stuff, is it's best to never see choices you used to make as you're bad, you're rotten, you're horrible. Is I just see them as that's all my soul had learned or was only going to be revealed to it at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
at that time, I chose to survive. Now that I'm older, wiser, I have more experience, I've tried different foods, different lifestyles, I make better choices for my soul. But I find if I start going, that was bad, I shouldn't have done that, and that, I start to match that frequency. So
Yes.
that is
Yes.
this is why I stay in such like love and light and hope and gratitude. If I start thinking in lower amounts consistently, things just start coming at me that match that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just I had that and I love that. I had that and I love
Yeah.
that. And then change your behavior. But don't,
Yeah.
I agree, don't go down on yourself. Don't be mean to yourself.
That's right. And I think also, so yeah, I was on amphetamines here for 15 years, I think, for ADHD, really high levels. And this is like finally finding myself. That was like surviving. And I feel like this, so pain pills, alcohol, so hardcore, from fracturing my spine twice, falling on a rock when wasted, falling down flights of stairs. And that's the other thing, is when that's how I ended up, they noticed my liver was failing, because I was covered in bruises, because every time, because I had the FND and then you're full of alcohol, and then I fall over more. I could barely walk. I used to crawl to the bathroom.
Wow.
I just bruise. But that's the other thing, is a lot of people who come to raw foods have been through so much. Like, there's
Right.
no way you ever want to go back. I think everyone has a different story. I almost think that's why you're so good, Marabella, at the magic side of it, because you've come into it in higher light and really
Mm-hmm.
like mastered the magic. Whereas I find, like, I feel like I'm just, 5 years in, and I feel like it's been the last year I've allowed myself to sit here, because I just know that there's this other side where alchemy isn't all. I call it alchemy. I call it even combining food alchemy. Like them, I feel
Yeah.
like once you've mastered yourself, you get the gift of alchemy. That's how I feel about the universe. And I have to keep sometimes move back. But I feel like your energy, because you've got it so streamlined, is just magically pouring into.
I think the direction I was going led me to raw foods because I was going on a spiritual path,
Yes.
like the next logical step for me. And
Yeah. Not many
then
people do that, you know.
no, I've noticed that most people come from being really, really, really ill, like such
Oh no,
illness.
not that. Not many people find. So what I tend to see happen is a lot of people who are like spiritually enlightened, and they still eat animals, or and
Oh,
they'll find justification where they are. But
yeah.
you've continually elevated till you got so high. Your diets had to match you, whereas most of us that find it have been so low. I literally know I climbed out with raw foods, whereas you're like, I feel like you're going up, and I actually feel like you knew you could get higher with the raw
Yes.
foods, whereas I'm like
Yes.
climbing up and out.
Yes. It started with green juice, because when I had the green juice, I was like, oh my gosh, like what is happening here? And then doing a cleanse with a friend. It was a I didn't know that it was vegan, but or a raw vegan or anything like that. We were just gonna eat fruits and vegetables, nuts, water. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so incredible. What in the world? So good. Like
That
better than anything else that I'd ever tried. Like no alcohol or no whatever food
yeah,
or something. Yeah,
it's
nothing.
it's magical. A lot of people I work with have gone on to raw foods with juicing, and then once you experience that magic, and then once they come off it, and they're like, oh, they want a bit of cooked food or dehydrated food, they're like, they really struggle, because when you're on juice or very hydrated or very light fruits, you can feel so magical. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's a calling to go up, but I feel like it's a beautiful thing to do something like juicing, or go high up onto raw foods. Or this is basically what I'm saying, is once you've experienced raw foods, like
Yes.
for a period of time, you can't unknow. So even if you
Yes.
go back, the one thing I hear when I run into people who go, I did raw for a year, or I did I went through a period, or I did juicing, is that you see them go, I never felt so good. Or I
Uh-huh.
wish back there. You never hear somebody go, I lie, because I do see people online be like, I did the raw thing, and now they're kind of justifying why they don't do it anymore. But I
Right.
feel like at some level, you know.
Yeah, because I tried at first and just went back. I've gone back before, and I I don't feel good. Like I don't feel like
The
myself
worst.
at all. Like no.
But I also love, like, I feel like there's so many us raw vegans were all over the world, and that is why I wanted to do like what I wanted from the podcast and the channel. And I love that we're so many of us are now doing the raw vegan bundle, is because we're all in this together. And people like Kiko of like, I haven't gone back. She goes, I'm like so grateful for you. I feel like now there's a community. I just
Yes.
don't go back. Like I
Yes.
feel like and I love that. That's what I want, is everybody to feel that they can just be raw, be the best version of themselves and enjoy it. And there's a place they can turn on. And hopefully a lot of the time there's podcasts going on. And
I think I told Kiko, the group, there's so much love in our group that
yeah,
it's so great. We have everything to keep us happy, raw, and there's so much love here.
there is. I'm loving all these comments. You can see the excitement that people
Yes.
find. It's like even this, like, it's like, wow. It's like, that's what you feel like on raw foods. But then again, like my example of the hot pink bedspread, we're not always ready for the bright,
Right.
right? That's the perfect example of when you can be
Perfect
blind.
example.
Like
Yeah.
light can hurt you if it's too strong, and so can
Right.
electricity. And that's, I did all the fruits for years, and then it was too strong. I needed to do much more of the minerals. I feel like they're very
Yeah.
protective. And so, but I love like seeing people like talk about it. It's just, and plus how you see the universe. You go outside and you're like, oh my God, I love everything. Everything's amazing.
Yes.
It's very
You,
magical.
Christy, as you really feel connected in, I guess it's not necessarily always that high vibe, and things do happen, and in life you have to roll through ups and downs, but you feel I feel so connected.
You
I
do.
feel so like supported and connected. That's how it makes me feel.
And I feel like if things don't seem like they're working, if I take my raw food, like really like light raw foods, and just sit out in nature, I feel like a brand new person. It's never
Yes.
failed. Or even sometimes, because I'm full of raw foods, but you just get out in nature and you just like present. I feel like most of my life, my brain did not stop yapping. Like it was just, and then you eat raw foods and it's just silent unless it has something good to say. Like, I love
Quiet.
you. I love this. This is amazing. This is beautiful. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, it's making me feel so good.
And when you feel so good and everything in your life is going up and down, you can kind of step back and you can be the witness instead of being like in it, and kind of sit back and watch. And where what maybe would take you down for a week or 2 or 5, now it's just a couple days, or just you see the truth in it within an hour, and you can keep sailing, keep the
Yeah.
flow.
And this, like when I was like highly medicated, I never like, I'm going into winter. So, but I actually look forward to the shutdown, because I've been in like, we only get in Australia only about 3 months of not even that cold, but what we call winter. And most of it's summer, but I like the time of like my body and the season shutting down. Plus, it's like this is where I do my like homey denser stuff, where I do like, I call them salad toppers, where I like to do like
Yeah.
a marinade through veggies for like 4 hours and top my salad with them, or do my 3 ingredient bread. Like I do denser when it's
Yes.
autumn, winter, but then it makes me appreciate when I come out and go into the summer. But if this is your first summer raw, that's very spring summer raw. That's
Oh, she
exciting.
says, Sister Olivia, dude, how excited are you guys for spring and summer? My first spring and summer raw. Oh my goodness, gonna be beautiful. I live in Buffalo and it was amazing. This was this amazing. I can hardly wait. Yes, and the full moon, to circle back to the full moon, it's the full worm moon, because the earth is
Someone said this, sorry,
in,
on one of my other videos, and I'm like, isn't it the blood moon? They're like, no,
yes.
yes, blood moon. Okay, go, explain the
Yeah,
worm.
so it's it is a lunar eclipse, which means that it's a blood moon, but it is the worm moon in the month of March, because in like America, in the United States, and I don't know what hemisphere, but it's the ground is warming up, and I
The
love
northern.
spring. Yeah, okay, northern
Northern.
hemisphere. And the ground is warming up, and so the earth starts to warm up. And I always think, oh, the little sprouts are sprouting and it's getting warm and it's going to be
Oh,
spring. Spring is my favorite time. I love spring and summer, so I'm so excited.
and what about the vibe of plants? Okay, in
Ah,
spring, I notice it
yes.
after the winter solstice in Australia. Once the winter solstice is gone, I start to notice the flowers start talking. The
Oh,
leaves a little bit, but then when it's spring, that's why I love spring so much, is I feel like
yes.
everything starts I'm like running or walking, you're talking to me and you're talking to me.
Yes.
People, like, they don't want to go raw and they're like, everything will be boring. I'm like, just get out in nature and everything is like vibing at you. Like, it's hard. It's not like talking, like mouth talking, but you just
Yeah,
see the flowers. It's not just a color. It's like a frequency that
it
I don't
is.
I don't see. Like, if I eat a lot of dehydrated food and condiments and all of that, is I do see it still a little bit, but when you eat like lots of fresh, especially in spring, all the spring fruits
Oh,
come out
yeah.
and you're full of that. And like, but then as summer comes, I don't see it as much. But then randomly I see it. Like, I'll be walking along and I'm like, you're talking to me.
Yes, I will notice like this tree is blooming and this one's blooming, and then a couple days later that one's blooming, and I watch to see how far the blooms get, and the grass starts to grow and it starts to be warm, and I just love it. And I know what you mean about talking. It feels like you can I do this with crystals. Like if I walk into a crystal shop, I can hear them sing. Like I'm like, I hear them sing. It feels like
Oh.
that with the flowers too. Like, oh, they're singing.
So on this, but what I know is that's the frequency that the birds and the bees would be seeing, right? Why they're drawn to some flowers, some are vibing higher than others, and people probably see it in like a color spectrum. But I don't know. I assume everyone sees this. Is they're like, it's hard to explain. They're vibrating. You see them. But another
Yes.
example of this is
Yes.
when I first got raw, remember I'd basically been in a room most of my life, and now I'm full of raw food and I can get outside. So I'm already like winning. But then
Yeah.
it's spring. I got well end of winter, started spring. So it's spring, right? So all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm like in Wonderland. But the other thing I noticed is the sacred geometry, and somebody's brought up Dr. Emoto here, is the
Oh.
design or the growth of plants and the angle of suns. You start to see certain flowers in patterns talk more than others, and the way the sun hits the water and all these frequencies
Mm.
everywhere. And another frequency I saw was when I stood back and looked at a field, even where if you look at grass and it's all like some of it's all different colors, but you know how there's like little grass mounds that grow up, like darker bits. You could
Yes.
see patterns, and I'm like, it's probably a bit polluted there, and that's all. You could spend like most
Oh,
of your day just sitting around and like
it's
the.
amazing. Where I live, they have sunflower fields, and you can just watch and you can see like if you get kind of above, you can see the patterns of the sunflowers. You can see like some will be a little bit taller than the others, and it's absolutely incredible. And there are these areas where there's some kind of crop growing that's very yellow. And if you see it against like a gray sky, it is so phenomenal. It is so incredible. Like you feel like you're in a different dimension. It's so incredible.
I love it. So because I was coming off the back of like splitting with reality when I found raw food. So when I first got onto raw foods, and I remember talking to my grandma, who'd always believed I was sick and always cared so much. She passed when I just got well, and mum always says she knew you were well and could let go now.
Mm.
Um, but when I was little, my favorite tree with my grandpa and grandma, who I was really close to, was frangipanis, right? There's a frangipani, there's a frangipani, and they come out in spring. So Nan had passed, and everywhere I'm driving, there's these like frequency talking to me frangipanis. And because I'm like come from dissociation where there's this awareness that everything is connected more than the human brain can process, and we were never designed to see the way things are. We're meant to process things in a more streamlined fashion, right? So I'm still coming off the back of being overstimulated by just information, right? But I was very aware of like that continuity and that ability that we are as one, that all those frangipani trees that were planted like 30, 40, 50 years ago were all going to talk to me right now. Like how the design of nature is more powerful than we're aware of, and how you can start to see the bigger design when
Yes.
you're let in to see realities when you eat raw food. And in truth, because I hadn't been around a lot of people, nature was just so loud. And I loved that. Like nature literally nursed me back into health. But I'm not like I'm not even like sad, because I think of how I used to be with dead spirit. I probably see it and get really emotional, but all I could think of was how when they were planted, they were always going to talk to me right now. Not just for me, everyone has this special. It's hard to explain how the I've seen reality at times, but basically I'm getting to a point of how magical raw foods and nature is.
So magical. Yes, yes. And we want you guys to enjoy some raw food and look at the full moon tonight and make your intentions. Remember, we're letting go and we're moving forward into tranquility, harmony, just loving ourselves, not taking on what we don't need to take on, letting go, all those beautiful things.
Exactly, exactly. So this was beautiful.
It
Thank
sure
you.
was. It was so good. Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
Skye. Thanks,
You're
everyone in
welcome.
the chat. Everyone was so happy and bubbly today.
Yes, and we will be
Beautiful.
back with the Raw Magic podcast on Friday,
And
and
Thursday for US, for
oh yeah,
Pacific
Thursday
Standard
for the US, Friday for me, and enjoy the full moon. Get
Yes,
high
happy full
fiving with
moon.
raw foods.
Woohoo! Yay!
Bye.
Bye.